So now let's move on to the final part of the introduction. So let's talk about the test section overview. So the overview of each section. So here, just so you know the times, okay, and for us to refresh our memories a little bit. So we will have a reading. In the reading, you will have 20 questions in total. Here you will read two passages, and respond to 20 questions in 35 minutes. Then you will have a listening that has 28 questions, where you will have lectures, classroom discussions, and questions about it. This will take 36 minutes. The speaking, the WhatsApp message memos, remember, you will have 4 tasks, only 4 tasks. You have to talk about familiar topics to you, and also discusses materials that you've read and heard. This will take only 60 minutes. And finally, the 2 tasks of writing. Okay, you will have the first one, which is the integrated, that you have to read, listen, and write your response. And then you have the paragraph, the writing for an academic discussion, that you will give your opinion about a topic in a classroom discussion, in a classroom forum, and this will take about 36 minutes. Remember, guys, that those times here, the only one that is for sure is the reading, the listening, because it varies. Sometimes the listenings are a little bit longer, sometimes they are a little bit shorter. So this is an approximation. So approximately the test will take 2 hours. Okay, just to refresh our memories about uh, the sections of the test. So this is very important. This table here is essential for you to know how to study, and for you to know what is expected from you in this test. Now, here we will talk about preparation per skill. What are the skills? The 4 skills. So the first one is the reading, listening, speaking, and writing. So now I will give you some tips on how to prepare. This is a warm-up for next modules. Our next modules are going to be divided in 2. The first one is going to be reading and discussion about the questions, etc., etc. Then listening and the workshops of note-taking, of how to approach the listenings and the questions. And the speaking, another workshop on how to speak, on how to organize your notes, on how to organize your speech. And finally, the writing, about how to write, basically. All right? Good. So let's start off with the reading. So this is something just for you to have in mind, okay? All right. So you will need to improve reading comprehension. How do I do that, teacher? Practicing. As I told you, that this word is going to be the word that is going to be following you in this course. Practice. Practice reading academic texts from various topics, from science, history, literature, and so on. How are you gonna be practicing this? Where are you gonna find those sources? In the reading module, I'll let you know, but I'll give you a spoiler here. The newspapers such as BBC, or other websites such as NASA. But hold on, hold your horses, because we will be talking about this in the reading module. Develop skimming and scanning. What do I mean by this? You have to develop a technique of reading the text, like when you just take a look and kind of like have an understanding of the context, and also reading for detail, because you have questions about the overall view of the test, and you have questions about the detail, key information. Again, And the reading, I will teach you how to do that in the reading module. Build vocabulary. The vocabulary here, you will only build this vocabulary when you practice reading. Okay? When you practice the reading of academic materials, you will be building a vocabulary for this kind of reading. So if you're used to read for your job, or if you're used to reading, I don't know, gossip magazine, tabloids, that's not the type of reading that's gonna be in the test, okay, guys? We will have academic reading. So you need to learn this kind of vocabulary, get used to this kind of vocabulary, okay? Master the reading question types. In this course, I will teach you the questions types, okay? There are different types of questions, such as sentence completion, summary questions. Now, this means nothing to you, but when I explain, you will need to practice them separately. Okay, you need to learn how to approach each type. Okay, once you master this, the test is going to be so much easier for you, because there are only 10 questions. There are not 10 types. I will not give you this spoiler. You have to see this in the reading module. But once you master this, the questions types, it becomes so much easier. And you have to learn these strategies to identify the main idea, the supporting details, okay? So these strategies, again, I will be giving you this one. Now let's move on to the listening part, okay? The one that I said it's kind of counterintuitive here. You have to enhance your listening skills. You have to listen to lectures, conversations in English. Anna, how am I gonna listen to lectures and conversations about academic materials? Well, you will be practicing from previous exams, but I always tell my students, listening to the news is a great way to start. Again, in the reading module, in the listening module, we'll be talking more about that. But this is another teaser here for you. The news, listening to the news, listening to podcasts. I will bring lots of podcast suggestions for you. It's a way to complement your study. So your study is gonna be taking the material, you know, practicing the material. But I don't know, when you are commuting to work, when you take the subway to go to work, you can listen to podcasts that are related to topics that could be in your TOEFL test, okay? Another one that is key. Okay, this one, pay attention here. Practice note taking and summarizing what you hear. We'll have a workshop only on strategies for note taking. And this one, I want you to pay extra attention. I want you to, you know, be focused and practice this, you know, hands-on note taking. Hands-on note taking, because if you learn how to take notes, you will perform very well in the listening. As I told you, it's counterintuitive to listen without the questions and to listen only one time. Okay, so learn how to take notes is essential here. Focus on identifying main ideas and details. You will always have questions about main ideas and details. All right? Master the listening questions types. There are different types of questions here. You have a summary question, you will have multiple choice, note completion questions. Again, now it sounds like Greek, but when we have this module of listening, this will be a piece of cake. Okay, guys? Develop strategies of understanding speed, background noise. You have to also understand the different accents and understand the intonation of each character in the listening, for example, in the conversation. But I don't want to give more spoilers. You have to go to the listening module to learn more. Speaking. For speaking, I want you to improve fluency and accuracy. How are you going to be doing this? By practicing. How will I practice speaking regularly? Well, I usually recommend having a partner, a study partner, somebody to help you out. But if you don't have a teacher, I don't know, I don't have somebody I trust, I'm studying by myself, I'm following the course here, you will be doing something that I know some people hate, and I get you, but you will be doing this, which is record yourself. Record yourself and listen to yourself. Find the mistakes, find out how to improve, get used to recording yourself, get used to listen to yourself, to assess. Okay, I will teach you how to assess speaking. All right, focus on pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary. And always think that you will be talking about academic terms. Okay, in the speaking part, we will, as I said, we will have a workshop on how to do it. I will do here, you have me as an example, okay? And you need to practice. If you want to practice in front of a mirror, it's fine as well. But for the speaking, guys, I'm begging you here. Practice, practice, practice. Okay. How to master the speaking types. As I told you in this module, I've been talking a lot about the speaking module. We will talk about task by task, all right? But when you are practicing for the independent speaking task, for example, you will be expressing opinions and describing experiences. So I know this might sound a stupid example, but when you wake up and you go to the bathroom, you know, and then you might think, I don't know, do I prefer, if you wear makeup, okay, but do I prefer to wear, what kind of makeup would I wear today? Would I prefer to wear a heavy makeup or a lighter makeup? You know, this kind of thing on daily situations will help you think on how to make choices, and you have to explain why you prefer, I don't know, a light makeup. So today I'm wearing a light makeup because I'm teaching, not going to a wedding, for example. Okay? To practice for the integrated task, you have to learn not only for speaking, because it's integrated. So you have to learn how to summarize reading passages, how to summarize lectures and take notes, how to respond to conversations, how to describe conversations. Don't you worry, we'll see everything in the speaking module that is waiting for you. So now let's talk about the writing. In the writing, you will be developing writing skills. You'll have to practice writing summaries because you will be summarizing a reading and a listening. Okay, something that I need you to focus. Remember, I said you don't have a grammar part, but the grammar will be assessed. Here, focus on grammar, vocabulary, sentence structure, organization. This is something that you will do with practice, and then I will teach you how you will be able to assess, how you will be able to get some feedback on this, all right? And you have to practice the integrated task and the writing task. There is no way, you need to use the material to do that, okay? For the independent writing task, if you're into it, I think Twitter might be nice, X now, right? Because it's kind of like this that you have to write, but this is only a suggestion. I don't like it, for example. But apart from the material, this is a way to practice writing using social media, okay? And you can always text your study buddy. You know, if you have a study buddy, I think texting for the independent writing, okay? And the integrated, the only way is practicing the material.